Linear regression is a statistical technique used to predict values. The first thing that we would have to do is to understand if the relationship between two variables is actually linear. If it's not linear, then the linear regression is not the appropriate model. In order to do that, we can create a scatter plot. In Excel, what you can do is select two variables and make the scatter plot the chart. In this example here we have observed cost of a taxi drive and the actual miles driven. So you can see here if you drive 0 miles, you already have to pay $3.50. Right? That's the flat fee that you get just for getting into the taxi. Now what we're going to do is we're going to highlight these data points, the x and the y variables, and we're going to select the chart and we're going to hit a scatter plot. Now you can see here, this will be quite interesting, right? We can clearly see a linear trend. And now, because we usually use the x-axis on the horizontal, I'm gonna change this around, and you can select this, the data source. I'm gonna go into this menu, select data, and I'm gonna see, you know what, the x values should be here. I hit enter, and the y values should be here. And now we have a nice scatter plot. We can adjust the axis. If we double click on this area here, we want to adjust the scale. We see the minimum, it goes from 0 to the maximum of 12, and in major unit Excel decided to put in 2. I would like to see 1, so change that and hit OK. Now you can see it's very easy to read now, and we can see, okay, 0 miles we get here, and this is around 350, so we could also change this. We want to do the major units in not fives, okay, we'll say fives, but we want to say 0.50. Now we can see this was a little bit too much. Let's just say we put it in $1 increments, and now we get a little bit better sense. We can also enlarge that. And here we see clearly a linear trend. The more you drive, the more you pay. If you drive just 0, we just pay $3.50. If you drive an additional mile, you're gonna pay an additional $2, $5.50. So now this here is the slope, right? So what we learned is if you go 1 unit up on the x-axis, so 1 more mile, you go up $2 in the y-axis. So this is the beta would be 2, and the intercept, where x is 0, the intercept is $3.50. Now we got a neat little trick here in Excel where you can click to actually have the regression line drawn out, and we see it nicely plots the regression line. Here we have a perfect correlation, right? Our values are exactly on the line. And thus, what would you guess would the correlation coefficient be? If it's a perfect correlation, it will be 1. And we can actually use this chart here to have the function displayed. So here we have the function is y equals 2x plus 3.5. Right, so Excel turns our formula around a little bit to talk about the slope first and then the intercept. But you could see that 2 times x, so 2 times the miles plus the $3.50 that we have a flat fee. Right, so let's say we do 10 miles. It's 2 times 10 is 20 plus 350. So it would be 23.50. Let's check. 10 miles, we get up here, we go over and yes, it's 2350. So this is how to design a scatter plot. Then you can also add the regression line, and you can even have a simple regression formula be displayed by Excel.